Hi, I'm Jane Miller from JamPlay.com. Welcome to my jazz lesson series. This lesson series is going to mostly deal with concepts that come up for jazz guitarists with solo consideration and with group consideration. So we're going to deal with different contexts like that. We'll talk a lot about comping because as jazz guitarists we're often asked to comp. I mean, that's our role with melody players, singers, playing with saxophonists or any melody instrument. And also we are a melody instrument too, so we can certainly deal with that, improvising melodic lines, comping in an improvised sort of way. These are some of the things that are going to come up during this lesson series. I also want to talk generally about the layout of the guitar. A lot of people are pretty concerned with finding the notes and knowing the note names as we're finding interesting chords. I think that if you keep adding to your bag of tricks so that you have a really good collection of chords, that in itself is going to help the process of note naming. But I will share with you one trick before we dive into all the lessons. I will share with you one trick about naming notes on the guitar. That is, we have reference points. The first reference point is the obvious one, the names of the open strings. So, eat a darn good breakfast early. That's how you do that one. Right? From there, let's say you're looking for a note, in the middle or upper part of the neck. So, say the 9th fret on the G string. I know that you know the feeling of saying, okay, 9th fret on the G string. Let's see, G, A, right? Counting up like that. If you have some reference points, then this little murky area in here gets a lot more clear. So first reference point, open strings. Next reference point is your tuning place. So when you play, say, the 5th fret on the E string, and you're tuning your guitar that way, now you know that note is A, because it sounds like your A string. So the trick that you use to tune your guitar all the time is actually a pretty good note naming trick too. So now we know the notes across the 5th fret, A, D, G. The B is back a fret, right? So that makes that one C. And here's E. Anything that's on the low E string will also be on the high E string in terms of names. 2 octaves higher, same name. Right, so there's a reference point. Now we've got the open string, so the nut to the 5th fret is a sort of workable, manageable section of the guitar. We can handle that. I can handle that, as opposed to the whole big neck to figure out. From the 5th fret to the 7th fret is the next little piece of reference point you can work with. Play the 7th fret on the A string. That's E. 7th fret on the D string is A, so it's the reverse of that tuning trick. Up here at the 8th fret on the B string is G, and then back to 7th fret on the E string for B. If that's a B, this is B. So now between 5 and 7, we've got those notes named. Right, so it's the octave apart and the reverse of that first tuning trick. And then the last reference point is the 12th fret, which most of you probably know at the 12th fret the guitar starts over again. So again, E, A, D, G, B, E. From 7 to 12, manageable, we can handle that. From 5 to 7, no problem. And from the open strings or the nut to the 5th fret, pretty manageable also. So now we've got these little sections of the neck for reference points that'll help us a lot. So back to that question of what's the 9th fret on the G string. My reference point tells me that that note is D, so up a whole step or 2 frets higher than that is E. So that's just a quick way you can reference the places on the neck to help you name the notes. In this lesson series, we're going to assume that you have some theory background, and there are lots of JamPlay lessons that cover that. If you want to check those out, you can surf around through the various theory lessons and some of the sort of beginning layout of chords. We're going to build on some of those. So we're going to sort of assume that you've got that together. Start with something that you do know and then add to that. So we're going to be dealing with tensions on top of chords, some interesting scales, and ways to use movable chord forms to improvise. And we're going to have some fun playing. We'll try, things that you can play in duet with other people, things that you can play with a group, and certainly things that you can play by yourself as a solo guitarist. Because after all, it shouldn't be such a tall order when people say, "Oh, you play guitar, play something for me, let me hear you play." I think it's nice to be able to just sit and play a piece all by yourself, just you and your guitar. So that's the goal, that's what's in store. Hope you'll enjoy it, and stay with me. We've got lots coming up.